Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are watching from. Hello, viewers, I'm back again. You see, what the president did is wrong by suspending the governor of Rivers State. It is very wrong. I will not just show you videos, I will prove it to you. The president has gone against the law. We will read the provisions in the constitution and you will know that he is wrong. But before then, I'll play you some videos and we'll be right back.
There's no provision of the Nigerian Constitution that allows the president or anybody for that matter to remove an elected official. Between 1979 and now, we have close to 20 cases of our courts which have upheld the right of Nigerian people to be governed properly in accordance with the law. In other words, the law is saying that it is illegal on the part of state governors to remove elected chairmen and councillors and replace them with caretaker committees. Under the Constitution, you can only remove a governor by impeachment, by resignation, or on account of ill health. In the case of a legislator, you can only remove him or her by the process of recall. So there's no provision for, or no law has empowered the president to remove a governor. In other words, you might also say that if the country is fighting a war, say with another country, do you ask the president to be removed by the National Assembly so that a sole administrator is appointed for the prosecution of the war? So it is totally what President Obasanjo did in removing governors cannot be justified under the law.
Emergency. Based on the 1999 Constitution, you cannot have a state of emergency that will send a governor packing, that will send elected representatives of the people at the state level packing for a period of time. That was an antiquated law. Nigerians will have challenged Obasanjo that this law does not exist. But he used it in a number of states. An illegal law was used to send fellowship packing. There is no such thing. And I still hear people say, declare state of emergency. Nobody can declare a state of emergency in Nigeria currently because we now know the law. Although many people don't know. You can declare a state of emergency and send a governor or House of Assembly members packing. No. Elected representatives of the people cannot be suspended from office in that manner, whereby you say all elected representatives, you are dissolving all political structures. 1999 Constitution does not prescribe that. What the 1999 Constitution precises in the state of emergency is that during that period, you can arrest people for 90 days without trial. And good Lord Jonathan did that in Borno State. And after a while, even the National Assembly got tired. They said, no, this state of emergency cannot continue. You can't have a state of emergency that sacks people from their elected positions. It was an illegal law that Obasanjo used and got away with it. But after that, no Nigerian president has tried it. No, if anybody tries it, that person will fail. It does not exist in our laws anymore. You can't use a 1963 law to be punishing people, to be sending people packing from their elective jobs.
All right, then. All right, so fine.
We're back, viewers. As you can see, no part of the law says you can remove the governor by any means that is not impeachment or maybe out of sick health or there is no other way you can remove the governor. Or maybe the governor has decided to resign. Obasanjo did that, succeeded because people were ignorant of the law. This time around, people knows the law. And this should be challenged. Falana has explained it and the other guy also clarified it. Now I will go into details. Yes, I will go into details. I share those videos to support my claim. Now, let me read. The 1999 Constitution of Nigeria does not specifically provide for the suspension of a sitting governor by the president. The Constitution sets out the procedure for the removal of the governor, but it does not grant the president the power to suspend a governor. Note, it does not grant the president the power to suspend a governor. The removal of a governor from office can only occur under certain conditions, as outlined in the Constitution, including impeachment by the State House of Assembly or by a court ruling declaring the governor, maybe his election is invalid. And maybe they come to realize, as in the case of an election tribunal, and they declared, or maybe a court after, just like what happened in Imo State, though the case of Imo and Hope Uzodinma was fraudulent. So there's no way you can remove a governor. There's no way you can remove a governor except through these processes. The president does not have the legal authority to directly suspend a sitting governor. Even the other guy said, even in the case of state of emergency, you cannot still stop the governor from doing his work. So this particular ruling by Tinubu, this particular order must be contended with. Yes, even if it's not Fubara's aides, Fubara's associates to tell Tinubu to resign that order, it is wrong. Now, let me read further. It said, however, if President Bola Tinubu were to take action against a governor, it would typically involve legal procedures, legal processes, possibly including the involvement of federal authorities in case of a criminal conduct or other breaches of the law. It would require following the due process as outlined in that constitution and other relevant laws. So there is no way you just announce, this is clearly a coup against Governor Fubara, a coup. There's no way you can just remove the governor. You both were elected. There are processes which you have spelled out here. Now let's get to the other ones. We need to really clarify us on these. These guys are doing whatever they like. Nigeria is a place where impunity goes. Anyone does anything. Can you imagine the way he suspended them? And the person appointed looks like a weak ally. Now, Tinubu relied upon a section of the Constitution to suspend Fubara. And the section was Section 305, subsection 5 of the 1999 Constitution. Now let's look at it because we are going to pick pins. We're going to punch holes on it. Of course, I will not read the broadcast because of time, but you already had the broadcast. You saw the script. I'm going to point out faults in that particular broadcast. There is lack of clear evidence. The speech relies heavily on allegations against Governor Fubara, but it doesn't provide concrete evidence to support these claims. He made some claims where, as something he's hinging on to suspend the governor. Now, it's also a selective justice. The declaration of a state of emergency seems to target only the governor and the House of Assembly, while other parties involved in the crisis are not held accountable. Like Wike. Wike is supposed to be suspended. He's not supposed to remain a Federal Capital Territory minister. Yes, because he's behind the whole thing. He's the one inspiring the House. We know here, Wike, you are suspended from your role until further notice for trying to interfere with the governance of a state you have left. You was governor for 8 years, you have left. You are trying to cause trouble in that state. The other one is constitutional concern. The suspension of the governor, deputy governor, and elected members of the House of Assembly for 6 months raises concerns about the constitutionality of such actions. Now, the other one is potential for abuse of power. The nomination of Vice Admiral Ibokete Ibas, retired as administrator, to take charge of the state affairs may be seen as an attempt to impose federal control over the state. The state are supposed to be ruled by the state. And we know that there are federal agencies that, okay, they help, but the state is supposed to be ruled by the state. The other fault we find with Tinubu's speech insufficient explanation. The speech doesn't provide a clear explanation for the governor's alleged failure to rebuild the House of Assembly or the militant threats against the perceived enemies. Potential for human rights violation. The declaration of a state of emergency may lead to human rights violation, particularly if the security agencies are given excessive powers to maintain order. You know, state of emergency involves, it's something like a military rule. Anything can happen. And we're in a democratic setting. Then, lack of transparency. This speech doesn't provide information on how the state of emergency will be implemented, what measures will be taken to restore order, or how the administrator will be held accountable. Now, let's look at what is in that said constitution. That's section 305, subsection 5 of the 1999 constitution. Let's take a look at it. It says that the president shall not issue a proclamation of a state of emergency in any case unless the governor of the state fails within a reasonable time to make a request to the president to issue such proclamation. Maybe in a case of breakdown of law and order, and it has continued for a while, and the governor has failed to. And okay, we'll continue. Now, he said, in essence, this section implies that the president can only declare a state of emergency if the governor of the state affected has not made a request for such declaration within a reasonable time frame. However, it's worth noting that the President Tinubu's speech declaring a state of emergency to Rivers State did not explicitly mention that the Governor Fubara failed to make such a request. Okay, because if Tinubu should declare such, he should have told Nigerians, Governor Fubara did not make such request. So now, let's further look at it. It's very important. Looking at it from other angles now. The governor's request. The governor of the state affected fails to make a request to the president to issue such a proclamation within a reasonable time. Now, here are the implications. In essence, this section implies that, one, the governor's consent in this matter. The governor's consent or request is required. The governor's consent or request is required before the president can declare a state of emergency. Not just calling him like a street boy. Fubara, you are suspended, your deputy suspended, house suspended, Abuja landlord, continue your work. That is not how shabbily it should go. The governor's consent is required. Now, in reasonable time frame. The governor must be given a reasonable time frame to make the request. It is only when it gets out of hand. And in this case, somebody is from the corner. Nobody cautioned the person. Now, the third one, presidential intervention. The president can only intervene and declare a state of emergency if the governor fails to make the request within the specified time frame. We have never had that. It has gotten so bad in Rivers State that they will just, it appears everything is geared towards bringing down Fubara. There's a political play involved, and everybody knows what is happening. 2027 is the target. So that is it. You don't just suspend them as if they are street boys. And based on what the argument earlier in the video you saw, the state of emergency can be there while the governor still acts as governor. You had that argument from the earlier video that I showed. So this is still debatable. What do you think? Add your comment on the comment section. Share this video widely. River State people, Fubara's associates should contest this. They shouldn't allow it to just go like that and wait for the 6 months. No, they should contest it.